After Tina Hummer and her group left, the Nicholson family still felt like they were dreaming. They found it nearly impossible to believe. The proud and untouchable Miss Hummer, after getting hit, didn't come seeking revenge, but instead humbled herself and personally apologized to them. It was inconceivable. What's up with the Hummer family today? They were so humble? Yeah. If I hadn't pinched myself, I would have thought I was still dreaming. Could it be that Miss Hummer is actually righteous and self-aware, realizing her fault and coming to apologize? Nonsense! Since when were the Hummers ever decent people? The Nicholsons buzzed with speculation, unable to calm down. Could it have been because of Dustin? Julia squinted suspiciously, her thoughts tangled. Since last night, from the moment the fight began, Dustin had shown an unnaturally calm demeanor, as if everything had been within his control. Either he was completely clueless, or he was hiding something far deeper. But thinking about how Dustin had been married to her cousin for 3 years and still had no achievements, she found it hard to believe he had what it took to make the Hummers bow. Just then, as everyone wrestled with their suspicions, Matt Laney strode in, well-dressed and full of charisma. "Oh, everyone's here. Perfect timing. I've got good news. The Hummers' ban on your family has officially been lifted," he announced with a smile. Now I get it. Matt, all of this just now, it was all thanks to you, wasn't it? Florence's eyes lit up with sudden realization. That's right. I nearly forgot Matt was with us. James Nicholson quickly echoed. No wonder the Hummers came to apologize. It must have been because Mr. Laney worked his magic behind the scenes. Exactly. Aside from Mr. Laney, who else could pull this off? At that moment, everyone in the Nicholson family looked enlightened. Clearly, they thought the reason the Hummers had lowered their heads was all due to Matt Laney's pressure. Yes, that must be it. What's going on? What just happened? Matt was a bit confused. Everyone had started talking as if he knew what they were referring to, but even with his usual quick wits, he was lost. Come now, Matt, no need to play humble. We saw what you did. If it weren't for you, do you really think Miss Hummer would have apologized? Florence said gratefully. Apologized? Matt froze, his heart skipping a beat. He knew very well what kind of person Tina Hummer was. For that kind of unreasonable woman to apologize in person? Yes, Matt. You didn't just help us through a crisis, you also let us save face for once. You're truly our family's savior. James Nicholson beamed. Mr. Laney, thank you so much. You saved our entire family. Everyone in the Nicholson household stepped forward, hands clasped in gratitude, full of praise. After a brief pause, Matt, quick on his feet, smiled and said, You're too kind. Honestly, I didn't do much. It was just a small effort on my part. Although he still didn't know the full story, seeing the Nicholson family's overwhelming gratitude, he gladly accepted the credit. After all, who turns down free favors? Matt, you're too modest. If not for you, the Nicholson family might have been wiped out today. James continued to flatter him. It's nothing, really. Matt replied with a humble smile, so polished and well-mannered, it was hard not to admire him. Just then, You got lucky, Dustin. Who would have thought you'd actually survive this? What are you still standing there for? Go bow and thank Matt right now. Florence suddenly turned toward Dustin, her face sharp with hostility. Bow and thank him? For what? Dustin gave her a sidelong glance. Humph. Don't play dumb. You were the one who hit her. You were the one who caused this mess. If Matt hadn't saved you, do you really think you'd still be standing here right now? Florence snapped, eyes glaring. That's right. If Matt weren't so well connected, someone like you who dares to hit a Hummer would have been dead 100 times over by now. James chimed in. Don't jump to conclusions, Dustin said coldly. Matt Laney doesn't have that kind of ability. He truly couldn't believe how delusional these people were. They hadn't even figured out the truth, and yet they were pouring gratitude on someone, treating him like a savior. And worse, Matt had the nerve to accept it all so shamelessly. Ha! If Matt's useless, then what about you? Go look in a mirror and ask yourself what kind of loser you are. Exactly! What can a troublemaker like you possibly do except bring disaster? Ungrateful bastard! Someone saved your life and you don't even have the decency to thank them? You're disgusting! The family members began to scold him one after another. To them, someone who repaid kindness with scorn was the lowest of the low. Dustin, is it really so hard to just say thank you? If it weren't for Matt Laney, you might not even be alive right now. Even Dahlia Nicholson finally spoke up. In her eyes, Dustin was being stubborn for the sake of pride. Compared to a life-saving favor, what was a simple thank you? If he truly helped me, of course I'd thank him. But the truth is, he didn't, Dustin said calmly. In fact, not only did he not help, the whole reason this started, including you getting hurt, was because of him. What are you implying? Dahlia frowned. I investigated. Matt Laney and Tina Hummer are lovers. She targeted you out of jealousy, thinking there was something going on between you two. That's why she attacked you. At the end of the day, he's the real culprit, Dustin declared forcefully. Nonsense! Before Matt could respond, Florence Zhang exploded first. Dustin! Stop spewing garbage! Matt is a gentleman. He's nothing like what you're saying. You're just jealous. You know Matt is better than you in every way, so now you're trying to slander him. James shouted. Dustin, you're such a disappointment. Didn't expect you to be this despicable. The other sneered. Why do you always cause trouble like this? Can't you act like an adult for once? Even Dahlia's face darkened. Clearly, she saw Dustin's words as nothing more than jealousy-driven nonsense. If you don't believe me, ask Julia. She saw everything clearly last night. Dustin turned and pointed. Everyone's eyes followed his gesture, now staring at Julia. Me? When everyone's eyes turned toward her, Julia froze for a second. She had only come to join in the excitement. How did this all suddenly fall on her? Julia, just tell us everything you saw last night. Don't leave anything out. I want to see how this worthless man plans to deny it again. Florence stood with hands on her hips, full of righteousness. That's right, Julia. Tell the truth. We need to expose this guy's lies. Everyone chimed in eagerly. Julia hesitated, unable to speak. Her reaction left everyone uncertain, especially Matt Laney, whose heart was pounding like a drum and sweat forming on his brow. From the moment Dustin called out the truth, Matt had been inwardly panicking. If Julia really had seen something, and if she exposed him now, he'd be utterly disgraced. Julia, I believe you know best what happened last night. Go ahead and tell everyone the truth, Dustin said calmly. Dustin! That's enough. Can't you save yourself some dignity? Dahlia Nicholson frowned slightly. Don't be afraid, Julia. Auntie's got your back. Whatever you saw, just speak up, Florence encouraged her like a doting protector. Last night, Julia hesitated for a few seconds. But then, her gaze suddenly firmed. Last night, I didn't see anything. I don't know anything. All I know is, it was Dustin who hit Miss Hummer. The moment those words came out, Dustin froze. He hadn't expected Julia to lie so boldly, right in front of everyone. You hear that, Dustin? That's the truth. Let's see how you worm your way out of this now. Florence shouted even louder. Not only are you ungrateful, you've now repaid kindness with malice. You really have no shame. Everyone shook their heads in disgust, faces full of scorn and disdain. At this point, the evidence was clear. Any attempt to explain was pointless. Sigh. Dahlia let out a long sigh, looking thoroughly disappointed. How many times had it been now? Even when she tried to give him a way out, Dustin remained stubborn and self-destructive. Dustin, I don't recall ever wronging you. Why are you slandering me like this? Thank goodness Julia is an honest person, she cleared my name. Otherwise, I couldn't have washed the blame off even in the Yellow River. Matt Laney put on an indignant act. Internally, however, he finally let out a sigh of relief. The moment had been terrifying, but now he was safe. You know very well what you've done. Don't put on a show in front of me. Dustin's gaze then turned toward Julia. As for you, I don't understand. Why would you lie? You know exactly what kind of person Matt Laney is. If you insist on watching your cousin jump into a pit of fire, then I have nothing more to say. Don't talk nonsense. What lie? It was you who hit Miss Hummer. Julia shouted back defiantly. You're failing to smear others, so now you're resorting to threats, huh? Think we're afraid of you? Florence scolded, furious. Dustin! Enough! Stop humiliating yourself! Dahlia shouted angrily. At this point, all she wanted was for Dustin to wake up and see reality. If you don't believe me, then fine. Forget I said anything. Goodbye. Dustin shook his head, no longer interested in arguing, and turned to leave. He had never hoped for any gratitude, but the way these people behaved was simply too disappointing. Stop right there! Matt Laney called out in a cold voice. You've slandered me over and over, and now you want to walk away without even an apology? That's too arrogant, isn't it? He had disliked Dustin for a while, but had always kept up appearances. Now that he had a reason to strike back, he wasn't going to let it slide. Apologize? Dustin sneered. You think you deserve one? If you don't apologize today, don't even think about leaving. Matt stepped in front of the door, glaring. He had practiced martial arts for several years. Dealing with a guy like Dustin should have been easy. Oh? Then let's see if you can stop me. Dustin snorted and kept walking. Trying to leave? Not so fast. Matt snapped and grabbed Dustin by the shoulder, trying to stop him and teach him a lesson. Touch me? Dustin turned his head coldly, then suddenly struck out, slapping Matt across the face. The force was so powerful, Matt was sent flying backward in a spin, spitting out 2 teeth as he crashed to the ground. Why you actually dared to hit him? Florence was shocked, frozen in place. She never expected Dustin to be bold enough to assault someone right in front of them all. You beast! You're truly a beast. Matt Laney saved your life out of kindness, and this is how you repay him? You ungrateful, heartless monster! The crowd burst into furious curses. If things had been bad before, now they were absolutely livid. Dustin! Are you insane? Why would you hit someone? Dahlia's face turned pale as she rushed to help Matt up. Disgraceful. Ungrateful. Violent. There was no reasoning with him. Didn't you see? He was the one who laid hands on me first. Dustin said coldly. He just touched you. Why did you have to hit so hard? Dahlia snapped, her tone icy. So he's allowed to hit me, and I'm not allowed to fight back. That's what you're saying? Dustin sneered. You're just twisting words. I'm ordering you, apologize to Matt Laney. Dahlia shouted angrily. And if I say no? Dustin's expression turned cold. I said apologize. Without another word, Dahlia raised her hand and slapped him.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now I'm left broken, no